So again, a very warm welcome to our home away from home on this little window, in this little window Zoom, where we zoom into everybody's life and are able to connect. And I think this is what the pandemic has taught us, to be able to do things even in our little spaces cut off due to things that we never could have thought would ever happen, things like the pandemic and things like the IPL, where some are just stuck to TV and we are here. So whatever it may be, we go on every Sunday at 7 p.m. And it gives me great delight in welcoming the speaker of today, Rajoli Ghosh. A little bit about Rajoli before she starts. She has always aspired for a career where she focuses on things that are truly passionate for her, with innovative ideas and analytical thinking. She did her master's in environment and development from Ambedkar University, and which was an interdisciplinary course in socio-political ecology, environment health, restoration ecology, urban development, ecology and biology, did a lot of field work, educational pedagogy, and in fact, Ms. Vijayalakshmi Bose's son has been her instructor, which I recently got to know. So that's really, really nice that the world is so small. A friend of mine, and this is how, the internet kind of connects all of us. An acquaintance, a friend of mine on the internet reached out to me that Rajoli is this person, a wonderful person who has done research in Arunachal, and she would like to connect with me. And I was like, of course, of course. And I got to connect with Rajoli, and she told me about her research. And I was really fascinated because one, when we talk about the Himalayas, it's so important that we just don't focus on the Western Himalayas or the Central Himalayas. It's also important to focus on the East. That's also the Himalayas. And I really feel happy. We've had a few talks, from the Northeast, Manipur, Assam, a few of those places. And it's important to make sure that we integrate those areas which are a part of the Himalayas and the traditions and customs and archaeology and all of that. So with Rajoli's talk today, which is on this little insect, which otherwise I would have no clue of, she's bringing it to light and adding on to the pool of wisdom that the Himalayas hold. And with that, I will leave the platform to Rajoli for her talk today on this consumable insect called Gandhi Pook or Gandhi Pook. How do you pronounce that? Gandhi Pook, right?
It's Gandhi Pook.
Gandhi Pook, huh? This little insect that has great impact in Arunachal. And she'll be talking all about her research, everything, which includes culinary practices. So at this point, I would urge all of you to mute your mics and put your videos off. And once Rajoli is done speaking, we will take your questions. And I welcome Rajoli's family, her friends to the Institute. And I hope that you continue to be a part of this Sunday kind of entertainment for things cerebral and things Himalayan. Rajoli, over to you.
Thank you, ma'am, for the lovely introduction. I feel so nice that I'm here, and I would like to thank your institution for giving me this great platform to express and portray what I've done. And so this talk is going to be on this particular insect, Gandhi Pook, and I'll just start talking about it in a bit after sharing my screen. So I hope you all can see my screen.
Yeah, it says it started screen sharing, but it has, now it has. Yeah, we can see you now.
Okay. This Gandhi Pook is an insect which is found in Arunachal Pradesh in its various districts. And without any further ado, I'll start with my presentation. So the word entomophagy, when we split the term entomophagy, we get ento, which means insect, and phagy means consumption. So basically, it means consumption of insect, and it has a very important part in our lives, especially since time immemorial. And when I was doing my literature review, I came across this paper which mentions that in the Paleolithic era, anthropoentomophagy evolved. That means that at that time, human beings started eating insects, and that actually helped them in the reproductive success, because insects are a very good source of nutrients, protein, and fatty acids. So basically, when the fat got started storing in the abdomen region, that actually helped in reproduction process. Apart from that, insects have been consumed in various countries around this globe. So in countries like Thailand, they have street food in terms of like insects where they're roasted and consumed on a daily basis. And even in China and Australia. So these are these countries where variety of insects are being consumed. Uh, Organizations such as Food Agriculture Organization and UN, they are promoting entomophagy with the perspective of seeing it as an alternative resourceful food, and also to help the problem of food insecurity. So here in the picture that you can see, they're selling AD poop, which is also called a silkworm in Arunachal Pradesh. And as you can see, it's in the market, so it definitely helps the people over there with earning and also like a alternative source of food. So food has definitely been an important part through insect. Apart from food, the importance of insect in the history uh, is depicted here in the pictures. As you can see over here in this picture, a honey bee has been embossed on a Roman coin. And here in this picture, you can see that a deity's statue has been inspired um, from a specific species of bee, again in the Maya culture. Apart from these pictures that you can see here, I've read in several, in one of the readings that uh, in cave paintings, grasshoppers have been found, which dates somewhere around 10,000 years ago. And even in Chinese clay pottery, inscriptions of insects have been found, which date somewhere around 2,000 years ago. So apart from insect having its important in the sector of food and being positioned in such high pedestals of society in terms of coin and statues, it also has a very important place in traditional medicine system. So in China, uh, species of I think silkworm are used in traditional medicine, and in Zimbabwe, a specific sting bug has been believed to cure heart diseases and also help in digestive processes. This is a very brief description about importance of an insect. So like I was telling, like there are many countries which are involved in entomophagy. Uh, Even in India, we find this culture. So in some South Indian states like Kerala and Tamil Nadu, this entomophagy is there, and even in northeastern country states of India. So my study area was Arunachal Pradesh, and a very brief idea about Arunachal Pradesh is that it's one of the largest northeastern states of India. It is also called as the mountain of rising sun. Um, and the important districts from Arunachal Pradesh for me were Papum Pare and East Siang. So Papum Pare, name of this district has been derived from the tributaries of Brahmaputra. One is Papum and Pare that flows through this district. and Siang. The Siang River is said to originate from Tibet, and when this river comes to Assam, it becomes Brahmaputra. So I'll just show where I was working in Papumpari. So this is the Papumpari district over here in Arunachal Pradesh, and this is the Doimok circle, and these are the encircled names of the villages where I was working. So Rono, Lekha village, Enchi, Amba, Karsingsa are some of the villages where I was working. Uh, so apart from Papumpari district, I was also working in East Siang district, here in Siluk village. So I was basically working with the villagers over here who were collecting the insect, and I just wanted to dig deeper, wanted to know more. Um, so here you can see the pictures of the village over here. It has a very small primary school. It's set up amidst the mountains, and the houses are made from natural resources available from the forest. And moving on, so during the preliminary stage of my field work, I just wanted to know that what all insects are consumed by this by in the district of Papumpare. So this was like an initial field work data that I got. So here I got to know that they liked eating crickets, silkworm, red ants, honeybees. Uh, these were the common ones, but there's another, this insect, of course, it has to be Gandhi pook because it struck another chord with me because I was told that on consumption of this insect, it caused severe health issues in certain cases. So something about Gandhi pook. Name, as you can read over here, is Gandhi pook. So Gandhi has been derived from Assamese word that is gondo, which means smell, and pook is called insect. So in Hindi, it has become like Gandhi pook. And here you can see the insect over here. So one is slightly bigger and it is red in color, and the other one is slightly smaller than the red one. It is black in color. So the scientific name of the red one is Coridius neplinalis, and the name of the black one is Coridius fungalanalis. Um, Apart from this basic idea, the order of this insect belongs to Hemiptera, and it belongs to the family of Pentatomyidae. I think I spelled it right. Said it right. So the linguistic diversity, as you know, Arunachal Pradesh has several tribal communities living in it, in the state, and so state has like Papumpare was is a district which is dominated by the Nishi tribe, and East Siang is dominated by Adi tribe. So I was able to get names from these two dialects. So in Nishi tribe, they call it as rees. This insect tari is called in the Adi dialect. So I just wanted to know more, like what are the local beliefs, what do the locals know about this insect, and from them I got to know that this insect, which is the place twice, once in the summer and once in the winter. So this is the summer insect which I found during my internship, and according to the locals there, it is found on papai leaves, which is called as pumpkin, which is actually pumpkin leaves, and they host on this leaves, and in the dialect it is called as netare. Uh, it is according to the local beliefs that they come and lay eggs during this time during the summer period, and in the winter's time they head to, or they actually after the summer ends, they move to the higher altitudes. And this insect, Gandhi pook or tari or reese, is found in the high altitude region. During the conversation with the locals there, according to their beliefs, according to the Adi folktale, insect Gandhi pook believed to be taken under by the evil spirit, and the evil spirit is named as Banji Bangman. So he adopted this insect, Gandhi pook, and that is why on consumption of this insect, it causes health issues according to the locals. And so I wanted to know more, and I wanted to know from where is this insect harvested, how is it stored by the people there, how is it prepared, and what are the health issues that are experienced after consumption of the Gandhi pook. I also wanted to know, was it because of individual immune system, or and also wanted to know, were there any traditional healing rituals, and also how did this insect help in earning a livelihood for the people there. So the methodology was qualitative, and I used snowball sampling and interviews. So next, these are the general findings that I found. Uh, it's a seasonal insect. It's harvested from the wild. It is dependent on geographical location. All these points I will be elaborating. Like I said, right now, it's a seasonal insect. It is harvested from the dry river beds of the river. So this river is Sibia River. It is in the East Siang district near Siluk village. According to the locals there, if the river is wider, maybe 5 or 6 kilometers wide, there the possibility of finding this insect increases. And also, if there are more pebbles which are whiter in color, that factor also includes the availability of this insect. Apart from that, I wanted to know how did they collect it? So I was told that it had a very tedious collection process, and so I have a small clipping here that I will share with you all right now. So as you can see here, remove each and every pebble, and before they disperse off, they try and grab onto it. I think the lady in the video here, she'll just collect one. And this was just a demo video because I had asked one of them to tell me how is it done. Then they collect it in a bottle, and these bottles are used so that they do not fly off. And these bottles have little holes on them because keeping the insect alive is very, very important for them. As you can see, every time when they go for collection, they have to remove all of these pebbles. And here I wanted to know what are the issues of collection process. So generally, the collectors would be in the field for like 2 to 3 hours, sometimes 5 hours. And then I was told that during the collection process, they need to remove the pebbles. And in that process, the skin underneath the nail would get damaged. Sometimes it would start bleeding also. Also, I was told that this particular insect has a chemical defense mechanism. When it gets alerted that it's in danger, it releases that a liquid out of its body. If by chance, if that liquid gets into the eye of the collector, then it causes temporary blindness and eye irritation. I was told that sometimes it takes more than 2 weeks to get over this temporary blindness or this eye irritation. And it also gives off some orange stains on the hands, which is again very difficult to get it off the skin. And I was told that because of that stain, the skins would also start, getting cracks on it. And I wanted to know, after the collection process is done, how do they store it? How do they bring it home? So traditionally, they use lagli bags. As you can see here in this picture, this is a lagli bag. They knit it on their own. They collect the Gandhi pook in this. And nowadays, they also use these plastic bottles which have holes on them, and also mosquito net bags that they just, make it. So I was told that after the collection, they bring it back home. They place it near the fireplace with a thought that these insects are going to be kept warm and they are going to live longer with this process. And next day, after the day of collection, they go to the market and they sell it off. So these are ekam leaves. You can see that these are traditional leaves. The scientific name is Phyranium pubinerve. And I was told that the insect, when it's packaged in this leaf, it lives for more than 7 days. However, in the plastic bag containers, the insects barely live for about like 5 days. This I was told by the sellers in the market. And to make them breathable, they put some holes onto it so that the insects are alive in it. So after the collection and selling process, I wanted to know how do they prepare it. So the methods of preparation, general idea that I got was they liked eating it raw sometimes. It actually depended from person to person, but they also like eating it with fermented bamboo shoots, with green chilies, and with some garlic, sometimes ginger. So after speaking to my respondents, I narrowed down to these 5 methods. The first over here that you can see, they liked eating it raw with and without removal of body parts. Similarly, they liked to have it like with dry fried and they use an iron wok to fry it with and without body parts. And some like to eat it boiled without removal of body parts. So I've captured some of the images, but I wanted to know like how do they consume it when it's raw. I was told that here you can see the lady is holding on to the insect, and she's the little dots that you can see here is the liquid that has been squished or squeezed out of the body of the insect. And then after that, they take out this red pigment, which is between the metathoracic gland and the abdominal region of this insect. This is one method, and they just consume it directly. After that, when I was doing my field work, I met someone and he happened to eat it. So he just got a container and he put some water in it. The idea of putting water and the insect in this container was that it will just give off the impurities which are stuck on the body of the insect, and it will be just washed off. After that, again, the red pigment is removed. It is very hard to see here, but this tiny little thing is the red pigment. And they just like to have it with powdered chili and some salt. And they just had it raw in front of me. So I have also documented how the method of preparation is done. The dry fry method with removal of body parts. So here you can see it is bought in a plastic container. The insects are there on the plate. In this picture, you can see the orange stain that I was talking about. So this came off from the insect while handling it. And here in this picture, you can see that the body parts of the insect have been removed. The legs have been removed, the wings have been removed, and some of the dead insects are also removed. It's very hard to see here the dead insects, but like I said again, was saying again, that removal of dead insects are very important. Then they put it in an iron wok and they just dry fry it. And I have a small clipping of the following steps which are involved. So I'll just put it here. So here it has been dry fried, and the oil that you can see on top of this insect has oozed out of the insect. They did not apply or add any other extra oil. And then here you can see some green chili, and they've added garlic also in it. And after transferring all the insect, they just pound it with the mortar and pestle. They do it until the insect is having a texture of maybe semi-solid, this sort of a thing. Moving on to the next slide. Then after that, the method of preparation is done. Then they just consume it with rice or, You can see how small the size of the insect becomes after mashing it for a couple of times. But then, like I said before in the introduction, that I used snowball sampling technique. With that, I found 25 respondents who consumed Gandhi book and suffered health issues. So I just wanted to know what were these health issues that were. I just recorded them, and the most common ones were spinning of head, shivering of body, losing the ability to walk, vomiting, and most interestingly and intriguingly, some reported to behave like the insect itself. So here in this graph, I have just just made a graph over here, and you can see that 15 respondents told that they did have the initial symptom of spinning of head. Some lost the ability to walk, and about 18 of them did mention that they were behaving like the insect. So I just wanted to know what all like how did, like what all did you do that you say that you behave like the insect. So they told me that they had the urge of flying. Some wanted to get into like very small holes. Some wanted to like hide under the table. Some had difficulty in gaining some were hallucinating also. So this one example which I can't forget was from one of my respondents who told me that she thought that she was holding on to a pebble, white pebble, and in reality, it was her child, and she thought that she threw away the pebble, but it was actually her child that she threw away. So this is the intensity of hallucination, and it is very scary to know also. Next, I wanted to know in how many days did they recover from these initial symptoms. So I got to know, there is a wide range of it. Like somebody told me that they recovered within 2 hours. Somebody told me it took them more than 5 months to get off all the symptoms away from them or just be relieved of those symptoms. Maximum 5 people told me that it took them about 1 month's time. So in my fieldwork, I also wanted to know were there any traditional healing rituals or treatment involved. So in the picture over here, you can see he's a shaman, and I met him in the Papumpare district. And in Adi dialect, this shaman is also called as Dhondai. So according to them, they are local doctors, and they perform prayer services and rituals for the people who are suffering and want to recover from some illnesses. So I interviewed him, and I wanted to know if he had ever helped someone recover from this side effects of consumption of Gandhi book. So he did, and he did. And even in my fieldwork, I met 3 respondents who uh, took treatment from these traditional healing rituals. So, according to him, you need 6 live Gandhi poop bugs, and you need heated water and then hot iron wok. And you basically bring the person who's suffering from this consumption of insect of Gandhi poop, and that person has to cover himself with a blanket and put the live insects in the traditional iron wok, and he needs to inhale the vapor. According to him, the insect releases the poisonous content and it goes into the vapor. So when the person inhales that, that poison helps in recovering from the health issues. So a source of livelihood. So when I was in East Siang and when I traveled to Papumpari district, I realized that not only one person gains benefit out of this particular insect, but the collector, the insect collector, he gets benefit out of it. When he goes to the market, he sells it to someone, and then that person probably Like in this field work in Pasighat, I met a person who in their dialect are called as Jarions. So these people, they actually buy the insect from the village collectors, and then they go to the districts where the insects are not available, like Papumpar. So, so the trading of Gandhi book does help like several people in earning a living. I also wanted to know the average income that one might earn out of this. So here, one means one bag full of lagli of Gandhi book, and number of cups per lagli. What I mean is that from one bag of lagli, you'll get 50 cups of Gandhi book. So here in the image that you see is a cup, and that is how they actually fix a amount or price the insect. So in a day, if somebody is selling around 50 cups of these insects, they're earning somewhere around 2,000 to 2,500 rupees. And it is very, so for villagers like from belonging to Silu, who live in below poverty line. And while interviewing, I did understand the problems that they go through. So one household would just have like one bulb to, get through the night. And if they're able to earn about 2,000 rupees in a day, that's a lot for them. So the prices would depend upon the location. Of course, where the availability of the Gandhi book is going to be more, the price is going to go down. And when it comes to a district where there's, it is not available, the prices go up because the transportation cost is also added. So the benefits of Gandhi book, I already said, so many people who are involved in this insect are earning money out of it. Also, for the villagers, when I interviewed them, they told me that it helped in the family income. Although this is a seasonal insect, uh, the money earned from this insect, it helps them to pay the school fees. I asked them how does it help, so they told me that in paying the school fees, buying school uniforms for the children, buying food items like milk, butter, salt, these are the actual words that they used. So I think as long as there's going to be demand and supply of Gandhi book, tradition and consumption of this insect is going to stay. Also depends upon the availability of this insect. So for discussion, there were a few points that I wanted to elaborate a bit more. Was that out of the 25 respondents who I interviewed, there were 7 of them who did say that they still like consuming this insect even after going through the health issues or suffering from it. And I just asked them why. Why do you like to consume this? So they told me like the taste of it. They actually use the word jhal. So they really like that taste, and that is what drives them to eat this insect. Apart from that, I did want to know, so why exactly, this health issue is there? And I was interviewing doctors from hospital also, and I got to know about this doctor who used to work at that time in the Niba hospital in Naharlagun, and he had his personal interest in this subject. And according to him, that like I was asking that, allergy for one person would be like if they eat something, they would have the same reaction again and again. Like if they consume it, they'll get that allergy. But for this insect, these people over here, they've been consuming for a very long time. I was told that after the age of 10, their parents allow the children to eat this insect. So why is it that like after consumption of it, after so many years that this person had to go through this health issue, and it was not a repetitive process. According to this doctor, he told me that this insect has probably some toxicity in it, which is neurotoxic in nature. Maybe 1 out of 100 such insects, only one might have the intensity of toxicity more in it, which might cause such health effects. Sorry. Apart from that, when I was reading more on this issue, so this is not the only issue which causes health effects. So according to a paper written by Dasht and Shono, please excuse me, I need to drink some water. According to his paper, it also depends on what the insect feeds on. Maybe the insect Gandhi poop feeds on to a very poisonous leaf or some flower. And according to the locals, they have the folktale also they talk about an Omi tree, which is poisonous in nature. So according to them, that this insect feeds onto the leaves or the dewdrops of this leaf, which increases the toxicity. And I also read one of the papers by Dr. Kiran Gogoi, who is from the Department of Zoology in Rajiv Gandhi University. And according to his study was on morphology and toxicity of this insect. And according to his paper, he does mention that this insect might have some semiochemicals, which maybe, he uses the word maybe, bioactive in nature, which might be causing these health issues. But then again, I would like to bring in one instant over here. So when I was talking to these respondents, they did tell me that there were like 11 people who ate from the same container, which had the insect's paste, and only one got affected. So that was again of very interest to me, because then if it's a paste, then all of them should get affected. But that also again might depend on individual immune system. So this particular insect needs a lot of extensive research and documentation, and only then such questions might get answered. So similarly, like in the beginning, I was talking about organizations like Food Agriculture Organization and UN, who have been involved in, uh, uh, helping people in the rural community. Like they are promoting entomophagy so that rural community earn a living out of it. But for me, my critical analysis here would be that not all insects which are edible may be good for them, because they might give some health issues, such as in my case, it's Gandhi poop, and thus it requires more documentation, because before anything is expanded on a commercial level. So I would like to end my discussion here, and I'm open to questions.
Yeah, thank you so much for this enlightening talk. If you could, Rajoli, stop sharing the screen so that,
Okay.
I can open the, yeah.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, that is so interesting and intriguing, that how an insect covers all facets of the life of an individual, and how it impacts economic well-being and all of those things, in an attempt to carry on this tradition as well, to make sure that the pressures of life kind of help in this kind of food habit. And you know what, Rajoli, actually today she discussed something about food culture, food, the changes that we experience in food with experimentation, and how food taboo, and how it comes into the platter after experimentation. This is a thing that we have been experimenting generations on. We see that insect eating is not something new. Prehistoric people used to engage in that. Even now, so many communities go into eating grubs and all of that. And things like how raw fish at one point in time, nobody would have even dreamt, but how it took on as food culture of sushi, for example. I was reading an article where lobsters were considered really bad and they were only given as a punishment to prisoners. And now lobsters is, you find restaurants that serve lobsters. So it's only a matter of time that sustainable eating, and with this, the kind of protein and vitamins that you get with these creepy crawlies, that our whole engagement with food will have to change for survival. Maybe maybe that's the time when we kind of get into this habit of eating insects. And Rajoli, I remember when I was a little kid, my elder cousin, she says, we were noticing some red ants, and she says, try them, they're really yummy. I was like, what? She says, yeah, and they're very high in protein. I was like, what? And I was so I was so disgusted by that. But maybe she did try it and she found it tasty, and it just is so much against her sensibilities. So yeah, this is such an amazing talk and so much to think about and so many questions, and I'm sure we have a lot of questions. If you could start, if anybody has any comments, if you could kind of raise your hands so that we could take you all in and ask. You can all put your hands up, or your videos on. It will be lovely to get comments. And Rajoli is a very young presenter, and she needs all our support. So yeah, does anybody have questions? Anybody?
Yes. Hi, Sonali. Hi, Sonali. Shubhadeep here.
Oh, hi, Shubhadeep. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing good.
Okay. Your voice is breaking a bit.
Got a good platform. Oh, really? Yeah.
Shubhadeep, you're not audible. Your voice is breaking.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
Better?
Yeah, better. Is he there? Okay, till he comes, let's take the first question from Manan. Dr. Manan Desai is a biochemist. So Manan, over to you. And then we'll take Vijayalakshmi Bose's question.
Yeah. Hi, Rajoli. Unfortunately, I could not attend your talk from the beginning, but the second half of the talk that I attended, it was pretty fascinating and interesting. One point, so really congratulations and kudos to bring up this topic, and a very interesting topic.
Thank you, sir.
My one point that I would like to just know a little bit about. So in the statistics that you are showing, the side effects of eating this insect, there was this point where you said they behave like insects. Now, what exactly was that? I mean, if you could elaborate a little bit on that one particular point?
Okay, sure, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the 25 respondents that I had, all of them did consume Gandhi book, and the method of consumption was different. Like I did present it on the graph there. So like I was saying, that how Dr. Carlos of Niba Hospital did say that this insect might be neurotoxic in nature. So that element, and even in the other paper that I read, say that this insect might have some semi-chemical or bioactive element in it. So I think because of these two reasons that I can think of right now, could be the reason that it activates or disrupts the neuro system in the humans, and in some manner, I just don't know why, but they do behave like the insect. Like I was giving the example that they feel or urge to like flying or hide under the blankets. And in fact, I even happened to interview one of the respondents in the hospital who was admitted because of the same reason. So I could see that his body was shivering all the time. He could not speak properly. So just I had an observation that he had the grip on, but at that time he was not behaving like the insect. I was also told that it's very difficult for the people who are admitted in the hospital to manage them because of the behaviorism that they do show. That is all I can say right now, because like I said, it's an intriguing element insect, and I would really like to know that why do these people behave or want to, or they behave like the insect, and why do they hallucinate? And everything that one incident that I did share was about the pebble. That and in the presentation, I also show that how these insects are found under these pebbles on the dry river beds. So everything is related to this insect, and I think we still need to know that why exactly do they behave like the insect.
Right. So is any work being actively done with this regards, or is any studies being conducted to observe or analyze such anomalies or side effects?
So as of now, I have been keeping check on these articles, but the last paper that was published was in 2017 by Dr. Gogoi from RGU, and since he belongs to the Department of Zoology, his study was only on the morphology and toxicity of this insect. But I haven't come across anywhere where they talk about why do they behave like the insect. Like in certain other articles or research done by Dr. Jhona Chakravarti of RGU, the same university, they, in their papers, when I was doing my literature review, at that time also, it was I read that they just mentioned that they hallucinate and they go through, or they behave like the insect, but nothing more than that.
So no clinical studies as yet.
No.
Okay.
Not as now.
There are theories that can be discussed regarding this pattern, but yeah, it would be interesting to see if any clinical observations or studies that could be published and that could be explored. But thank you for this interesting talk.
Thank you, sir. My pleasure.
I was just doing a search and I came across this 10 places around the world to eat gourmet bugs. So,
yeah.
So it's taken on the title of Exotica in terms of, I did read, did watch a documentary some years back. I think Anthony Bourdain at that time, he kind of was talking about an exotic restaurant with bugs where they serve them on skewers. So it's almost becoming like when we were talking about food culture, becoming a different kind of food culture, which is like, catering to people who really want to try. And it's almost like classy, giving that kind of note from very tribal origins to very classy high-end restaurants in Soho, in all those places. So you also see a shift in perception in terms of engagement as well. So that's also very interesting to me. I don't know, what are your thoughts on that? How do you feel that this will play out, and how does it affect maybe, these communities who are really struggling to make a living with this kind of demand? Maybe, yeah, go ahead.
Like when I was reading several articles, Thailand did, it is one of those countries where there are about 20,000 farms, and every year they produce around 705 tons of these insects. And it is also one of those countries which exports giant grubs to countries like USA. Like in USA, it's been used, and also like you were telling how it has been brought to the in several fine dines. So it's also been used in granola bars by many these high-end organizations, and it's been used as a protein supplement. It's already there in our platter. It's just that we don't dig enough or get to know that how is it there in our food system. Apart from that, the acceptance of insect is also very much needed, because here in India it's considered as a taboo. So it's going to be a tough call. I mean, like, it all depends on how people accept it and bring it on in the plates.
So it's all about conditioning.
Right.
Yeah, and say that the food problem will be eradicated, because if people start consuming insects, right? So
Right.
so we need a shift in our way of thinking.
Right.
So I don't know how many of us here today are ready to do that. Yeah. So, ma'am, your question, Vijay Lakshmi Bose's question.
Yeah. Hi,
Good evening,
Rajoli.
ma'am.
Congratulations on a very, very nice presentation. You know my son Buddha, right?
Yes,
Buddha
yes, ma'am.
Ditya?
Yes, ma'am. He did
Okay,
teach
I'm
me.
his mom. Yeah.
I'm so happy
So,
to meet you here.
wanted to ask. Yeah, thank you. Nice to meet you too. Must be very proud of you. Such a young person doing so well. I wanted to ask you whether any study has been done on the micronutrient properties, because before I work in food security and health and with the UN most of my life. So I know that before a food is considered to be useful for intra or inter-household food, reduce inter-household food insecurity, then the calorific amount is generally measured, and then you can tell countries that, look, with low protein intake and with the price of chicken going up, calorie for calorie, this is the amount of protein you'll get. That's one. The second one was of a more frivolous nature. If it's hallucinogenic, are people trying to use it as a hallucinogen? Because if you try to behave like an insect, maybe you can escape the cares of this world by behaving like an insect. Nobody will ask an insect to go earn a living, for instance. So that's the second question. Yeah.
Okay. So I'd like to answer your first question first. So, like I said, I've read papers by Dr. Jhorna Chakrabarti, who has worked enough on this particular insect. And she, according to her, one of the papers that I read, she has done chemical analysis of this particular insect. And according to the results, this insect is high in fatty acids, such as palmitic and oleic acids. And also in her paper, it was mentioned that is rich in iron and zinc. So we know how important it is, right, for a human being to have these micronutrients in our body. And also I remember studying that about this particular insect is high in calcium as well. It might help ladies who are going through their pregnancy. So as of now, I can remember that these three important nutrients are very much available in this insect. For the second question about the hallucination, I don't think that they do it deliberately, because they don't know if it's going to happen to them or not, if they're going to get affected or not. The main factor which pulls them or draws them towards the consumption is merely the taste of it. They really like how it tastes, and that is what draws them towards to eating it. So that is what I had to answer.
Okay, you mentioned shamans.
Right.
Did you find its use in healing, the use of the Gandhi book in healing rituals at all?
Yes, so I have not delved much into it, but I did meet amongst the 25 respondents who I met. They told me that 3 of them, they did take help of shamans, and they they did go through the rituals which helped them cure from the health effects. Apart from the rituals, people over there, when they go through the side effect, they do consume citrus fruit such as lemon and oranges, which I was told that help them in quick recovery.
Okay.
Have I answered
Thank
the
you.
question?
That was very good.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, of course. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I think Shikha has a question because there are a couple of questions in the chat. So Shikha, Dr. Shikha Rai, she's an archaeologist, and she also is a frequent audience on our platform. I don't know if she's here right now. Shikha, are you here? If you are, if you could... yeah. Shikha? Okay, or maybe I can just read out her question. She says that consuming Gandhi Puk is related with a particular season, or it can be consumed regularly. I think you did answer that question, that there is a season. Yeah.
Right.
Or is it some strategy to cope with shortage of food resource? So yeah, that's interesting that seasonally, maybe at this particular time, food resources may be scarce in the past or something. And is that the case?
So even like in winters, I think since it's a seasonal insect, I mean, maybe in past must have been the issue why they, started consuming it. And along with this question, I would like to answer another question over here, which talks about consuming of Gandhi Puk is related to particular season or something. I read something like, how did the consumption of Gandhi Puk start in that community? To answer this and Dr. Shikhar's question, I would say that I would go back to a theoretical framework given by Julian Stewart, who coined the term cultural ecology, where that means that anything that we have in our environment that actually shapes the culture of our living. So like in Africa, people there, they started eating insects because there was, because of extreme climatic conditions. And I think because what is available to them, it's not that it's a trend of eating consumption of eating insects. It's about like what is available, you make the most out of it. So I think that is what or must have happened in several other communities across the world. So whatever is available in the environment, you adapt to it, you start making use of it, and that's how it becomes a part of the tradition. So
thank you. And Onam, who's also regular, Onam Tamot, she's from Arunachal. So Onam, are you there online? Would you like to ask your question, or should I ask? Let's give it 5 seconds for her to come.
Okay.
Onam, are you there? I'll read out her question. So she says she's from Pasighat, not a fan of it. Winter is coming and the hunt for Gandhi Puk will start. The grace of Gandhi Puk is next in every community of Arunachal, especially Siang Belt, Papumpare. Yes, they hide under the bed and even hesitate to come out of the mosquito net.
Yeah.
I still wonder why the name Gandhi. And I think there's been another question regarding why the name Gandhi Puk. Yeah.
So according to my research, like I said, even in Assamese, Gandhi or Gondho means smell, and Puk means insect. And according to the folk tales and the Adi folk tales that I did come across, so there I got to know that this insect belonged to Banji Bangman, and since I think it's definitely got to do with most of the physiology, that it smells, and I think that's how I can answer that question because of the physical characteristic that the particular smell it has, the insect which it, stinks. Maybe that's why from smell it must have derived Gandhi.
So Rajoli, I have a question. When it comes to this particular insect, is it like region specific that it is found only in Arunachal, anywhere else in the world? And if yes, have you investigated that whether it is used in these eating habits of the people, or if not, then how is it perceived and handled and all of that, and how does it differ or not differ?
Okay, so the first question is that this insect is found in Arunachal Pradesh, as well as Distant is one of the authors and I think around 1903, in his book, it was mentioned that this insect was found in the dry riverbeds of Assam. That means it's not only in Arunachal Pradesh, it's also in Assam. And definitely has to do a lot with the geographical location. Like it's definitely found in the dry riverbeds. And that was what that was mentioned there. About this particular insect and its similarity or differences with any other part of the world, I did read a paper by Desevros. His paper was, he's based at Africa, and even the species, the sting bug that they were working on, I found a lot of similarities, like how collection process was not similar, but it also did give off, it also had a chemical defense system. It is first washed off with the water, then it releases, because it's washed off with water and then it's poured into hot water, that helps the insect release of the chemical defense, and basically it's dying in that process. After that, it's again washed off in clean water, it's cooled down, and then it's dried off in the sun, and they, put some salt, and then that's how they increase the shelf life of that particular sting bug. So that is one similarity amidst the species only I can give the reference of.
Okay, thanks for that. Manan, you had a question?
Not really a question, it was a comment. Most of it Rajoli just answered. The comment I had was with regards to question that Vijay Lakshmi ma'am had asked regarding the reason behind if at all it causes hallucination and what could be a potential cause. I just did a quick read about this insect, and what I came across is it contains as part of its chemical milieu and as part of its chemical defense system, it contains certain potent chemicals which does have a tendency which can lead to hallucination like symptoms. So that could have been a possibility. And as to point that Sonali, a question that Sonali you asked regarding whether this bug, this stink bug is consumed elsewhere.
Yeah.
As again what Rajoli mentioned, that it's been used in Africa. Not this particular species specifically, but its distant relatives or cousins,
Yeah.
they are consumed and considered as part of the edible bug family across South Africa, various parts of Africa, as well as in Australia.
Okay, really helpful.
So it could actually be some kind of linkage in terms of, the evolving food habits of how.
Actually, this particular bug, if I'm again not mistaken, it's a agricultural pest.
It is in Africa.
Yeah. So another reason perhaps for consuming this bug could be to, I don't know.
When there were no pesticides, just eat them.
Yeah, so just, actually.
Yeah.
That's the case for grasshoppers as well. Like in Thailand,
Yeah.
In the rice field, the people over there, the tradition of, I think, grasshoppers started when, it started it was a hindrance for agriculture purpose. So I think, like I said, like how environment pushes one man to adapt to certain situations.
I have to tell you, in my little garden in Kulu, I was growing broccoli and cabbages, and with lot of love, I had planted them, and then I saw them being invaded by these worms and caterpillars, and I was so upset. I was like, they should just be annihilated, brought out the worst in me. And I think in one of those moments, somebody said, I'm just going to eat them. And that there starts, oh, this grub is yummy. Actually, I'm not feeling hungry anymore. Yeah.
I mean,
Just
they are protein rich sources. They're rich sources for proteins, basically, all insects.
Yeah.
And not just these, but several bugs are consumed. Like cicadas are a delicacy.
Really? Oh
Yeah.
It is. It is.
It is.
Another, I mean, I was hoping someone would ask me this question, but just out of, sharing the point of view, just that organizations like FAO, like Food Agriculture Organization, they're promoting this because, how livestock and cattle, they are a major factor in producing greenhouse gas emissions. So if you have a cow and if you're taking them to a pasture, they're going to eat grasses, right? So the grass is not going to be there, and then it won't be having the ability to hold on to the carbon dioxide which is there in the atmosphere. So so in that way, the whole cycle would get disrupted. So insects, on the other hand, they are going to provide you with protein. They are considered to, having 80% less emission rates in comparison to livestock. So, yeah, so that is why these organizations are also,
promoting
entomophagy. And I also read by one of esteemed personnels in this field, Dr. Arnold, who's in the Wageningen University of Netherlands. According to him, by 2015, we're going to have a population of 10 billion. And it's not a very sustainable way of living by eating, livestock like pork or beef and cattle. We'll not have the resources by then to, serve so many people. So that is why they're promoting entomophagy. And this was very important.
So maybe that's our new tomorrow in the Himalayas. In some time we'll all be eating insects. So how does that make one feel? Are you ready to condition yourself into having a different kind of lifestyle? We're all adapting, aren't we? With the pandemic, we are adapting. So why not food? So that's food for thought. That's food for thought. So, Amal,
haven't you seen locusts being sold on the streets of Thailand?
Yes, there are I did read about it.
Yeah.
That's even I mentioned it.
Yeah,
Vijayalakshmi ma'am, I have seen those. I've even tasted those.
How are they, Manan? Please tell us. We are dying to hear.
They were caramelized.
Okay.
Yeah, they're a delicacy, believe me. They're a part of Thai street food. They're a delicacy. And by the way, I know of a friend of mine, a strict vegetarian, went to Thailand and called me and said, how can you eat prehistoric creatures? And I said, what prehistoric creatures? He said, all those legs and those gol aankhein looking at you. And she was talking about lobsters, which are kept in these huge aquariums. So, that may be the food of tomorrow. We don't know.
So
vegetarian,
Rajoli,
they appear prehistoric.
Yeah. Rajoli, one question. Were you tempted at any point to taste it?
Last picture that you see in the discussion section, it was me who was trying it out. So I did try it. So this is why I tried it. I mean, I wanted to tell people how it tasted. It tasted like a very strong coriander taste. It had very strong coriander taste.
And Was there any effect on your body, and did the taste linger on for you to kind of want it more?
I just had kept my fingers crossed, and I didn't want to get affected by it. It was solely just on research purpose that I tried it.
Yeah, but when you did you want it more? Like, does it have that kind of a taste that you want more, or you sometimes feel, oh, this was good, let me try it again?
Specifically for this insect, no. I was very scared, having knowing already what side effects it had, and I was researching all by myself, and nobody was there, so I had to be careful. Even if I wanted to try more, I didn't. But yeah, I had to stop.
I remember a few years ago, I went to Borneo, and my son and I, we were just exploring the jungle, and we came across like a cut up python. And we're like, oh my God, that really jarred us. Okay. And then they served us stingray. And when I looked at it, I was like, oh my goodness, what am I going to eat? And if they offer you something and you say no, they get upset. So it's also about making sure that you don't upset your guests, because you're in the jungle in a longhouse with the headhunters. They were headhunters, their ancestors, and you just feel, oh my God, what if they slaughter me right here? So my son and I, we had, just out of compulsion, but the stingray turned out to be delicious. So, and that I use that as a tool, when my son doesn't eat, I said, don't try everything. Remember the stingray? You didn't like it, but when you tasted it, because he was so scared of the Iban headhunters, you had it and you loved it. He said, yes, I'm going to try. So yeah, it's all about conditioning. And Shikha has come up with this, that the Bushman community in Africa, they use insects for poisoning their arrow tips. That's also very interesting, that how adaptability in terms of how they're using it, times of starvation, time to supplement their food sources, and using it for hunting. So that's really amazing. So Manan is kind of coming in and saying things we do for science. Yeah. You make us eat everything, insects and all, experimentation. Yeah. Anything else? This is such a fascinating, like, food culture, food anthropology, so interesting, so much we can learn. And Rajoli, this is so really, really very inspiring that, you went out there in Arunachal and tried this food. That's amazing. So
thank you.
yeah. And there is a tribe that eats caterpillars. Okay, they must be the ones who are just upset with the cauliflower and the broccoli, I'm sure. So being eaten by these caterpillars. So yeah, anything else anybody wants to add or has any thoughts? Shubhadeep, I don't know whether he's here, but we lost you last time with your connection. But if you want to jump in, it's because of Shubhadeep that I got in touch with Rajoli. And I'm so glad he suggested. And it's so nice that, your research is not hidden just to your academic peers and, professors, but all of us get to hear it as well. And that's very important. Just knowledge sharing is so important. Being Indians, getting to know about Gandhi Pook, this little insect under the stone, like, you've brought it to light, you've given it a name. So thanks so much for that. So yeah,
I need to thank you for giving me this opportunity, or else I would have been just sitting with it. I'm so happy that I was able to share with all of you.
Yeah, no, we are very glad as well. So at this point, I would like before I end, Rajoli is going to give us some words of wisdom. That's our kind of signature tagline when we end. Secondly, for those of you who are joining us for the first time today, next week, 31st, we are having a different kind of session, which is a kind of book talk on the book called Fossil, which is amazing. It's based in the Himalayas by Dr. Siddharth Pandey, who has done his PhD in fantastical literature from Oxford. And he has spoken on our platform before on Shimla. about how Shimla as the queen of the hills intrigues us. But this book is very interesting. It's written in a very poetic format. So Dr. Saif Mahmood, who has written Beloved Delhi, and I will be kind of engaging with Dr. Siddharth Pandey on this book on fossils of the Himalayas. So he wrote it in collaboration with Australian academics, and his part was writing about stones. They were writing about stones and stuff. So he wrote about fossils, Himalayan fossils. So it's a very different way of presenting for us and this book as well. That it's a very different format. So I'd urge all of you to join in so that you can get to know Dr. Siddharth Pandey, his book, his love for the Himalayas, and being in conversation with Dr. Saif Mahmood is also a very, very different experience. So so that's the announcement that I wanted to make for next Sunday. And we will be having our courses lined up online. So if you want to check, if you have friends who would want to do courses, which range from iconography, Buddhism, motifs, Tantra, sacred and secular architecture, Egyptian religion as well. So you can sit at home and do those courses. And if you're not doing that, attend our Sunday lectures. They're free for all, and we would love to have you. And this is all to spread awareness for the Himalayas, because if we don't, then who will? We need to educate ourselves about the gems that we have hidden. Rajoli is one of those gems who kind of let us know a little bit more, about, this little insect. So thank you so much, Rajoli. If you could give your parting lines, your words of wisdom, and we urge you to come every Sunday as well. So yeah.
I will definitely be here every Sunday. Words of wisdom. I mean, what do I say? I think we all are at a stage in life where we need to make conscious decisions about what we choose in life, be it like, ordering something from online and, or just, like we need to understand how much are we part in taking or making pollution. So, because it's actually whatever, even one click on the laptop, we're creating a lot of carbon footprint. So we're at a stage where we need to be very, very careful. And actually people are so laid back and in the sedentary life, they forget that they also have some part in, conserving the environment. So it's not only like attending these presentation, it's going to be very important if, we become more conscious towards plastic pollution and how we can stop it, maybe probably by avoiding certain packaged materials or making something in our own houses instead of ordering food. So just let's become more conscious and have and leave something for the future generation to cherish. Yeah, that's what I'd say.
Thanks so much. And you being so young yourself, so glad that, this chain has to go on, this awareness has to go on. And it's really heartwarming to know that the younger generation cares. And, we will continue to do what we do, lead a life of purpose, spread the knowledge that we have gained through research. And I think that is our karma, and doing things and applying it into our own lives and creating change, which starts from within. So with that philosophical remark, let's sign off for today. Thanks so much for all who are in attendance. You're all welcome next Sunday, 7 p.m. Indian Standard Time for our next talk on fossils. So take care, and you all can go and enjoy India versus Pakistan on IPL. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving me this opportunity.
You're welcome. All of you, thank you so much. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Yeah.